something on my phone. See who's gonna hop on for us tonight, Edie. Hello? Hello, hello, hello? If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. Hello, hello? Hello? If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. Hello? Anybody? If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. Hello? Nobody wants to talk to me tonight? Hello? Maybe somebody's going to talk to us tonight, Edie. Hello, hello. Ruben from San Antonio, Texas. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Thank you for the badge. I appreciate that. That would be my grandson. He's discovered his voice. You're so welcome. Thank you for being here. If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. Hello. If you're not familiar, my name is Renee. I'm from South Dakota. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. I'm lucky to have him near. Yeah, he lives with me. I know. Rick from Alabama. Welcome. Steve-O from Atlanta, Georgia. Thank you for the badge. My name is Tracy. Do you think my play... do I what? I don't know. Thank you for the badge. Thank you for the follow. LOL. Is there something funny? Am I funny? I mean, I know I can be, but Stella, thank you for the badge. If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. Thanks for the likes. I'm not sure who sent those. If you're not familiar, my name is Renee. Welcome. I'm from South Dakota. I'm just going to let a few more people hop on here. I'm running a little bit late tonight. You did? Minnesota. Stella from Kentucky. Welcome. Glad to have you guys here. Hair in my mouth. You sent the likes, I'm guessing. Oh, Colleen? I don't even know how to say that. Broomall, Pennsylvania? Yes, okay. What do I do in South Dakota for fun? Well, we have a lot of nature here, so we hike, we go out into nature, we spend time at the lakes, if it's warm, that is. Is it Dana? Louisiana. St. Petersburg, Florida. Did you have a name? Thank you for the badge. I can't talk ever. SS Designs. Thank you for all the likes. I appreciate that. Okay, guys. Oh, shoot. I think I just invited somebody. I didn't mean to. Melinda, Missouri. No, I do not. Thank you for the badge. I appreciate that. Okay, guys. Well, it looks like we're going to kind of plateau off. And so it's been a few minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. If you're new here, my name is Renee. I'm from South Dakota. Welcome. I started my TikTok a little over a year ago in March. The reason I started my TikTok is because on September 14th of 2023, for TikTok purposes, my husband unalived himself. And That's when I discovered that I had abilities to talk to my guides, and they slowly breadcrumbed me to my purpose, which is to help others. And so that's why I'm here. I only have 2 rules on my page. The first one is I just ask that you always be kind. And the second one is we don't talk any politics here. It's just, that's not what my page is about. It's not against anybody or any side. Mark from Iowa, welcome. What part of Iowa, Mark? I'm from Iowa. Thank you for the badge. My name did that 51 years ago this last May 2nd. Your name or who did that? Sorry. Can you elaborate? Davenport. Okay. I'm from Moreover between Mason City and Ames. Your dad. I am so sorry to hear that. It's a tough thing, right? It's a tough thing to get through. How old were you, can I ask? If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. And so we don't talk politics here. 12. Oh, I am so sorry. Oh. I was 48 years old. My husband and I were together for 32 years, and that was tough. So I can't even imagine being 12. Ever hear of Boone? I sure have. Been there many times. Actually have family that live there. Thank you for the badge, Steve-O. Oh my gracious, you found him. Well, I don't know how he went, but I found my husband, so I guess we can relate on that, but I'm so sorry. Did you heal that at 12? And I'm assuming you're not, you're probably close to my age, if not older. Did you ever heal that wound? My little brother was only 19 when he checked. I say checked out, sorry. If you're not familiar, we talk about sensitive content here, so please don't report me. 63. Yeah. We don't talk about politics here, so I'm just going to have you refrain from that. Otherwise, I'll have to block you, and I don't like to block anybody. Not completely. Okay. Well, you're on the right page if you want to talk about it. That's what we do here. Abid, welcome back, buddy. How are you? Yeah, that's a tough thing, right? Well, actually, tonight's topic, my guides give me a topic. Tonight's topic is balance, but we're talking about why I'm here. My husband unalived himself, and another person commented that their dad did the same thing and brother. So that's what we were talking about. Where's your match? Divorced 3 times. Well, are you following your gut? Just asking. No, it's just we talk about loss here, Jerry. And that's not what my page is about at all. We don't talk about any politics, one side or the other. There's a million other pages out there for that. We just don't talk about that here because we're helping people get over loss and trauma and things like that. So that's your second warning. If I have to give you 3, I have to block you, and I don't want to do that. Thank you for the follow, and thank you for the badge. Yes, you're following your gut, but you wasn't. Okay. And maybe stop looking. Are you looking? I found when you're not looking is what I've always heard. You block. Yeah. I usually like to give them a couple chances just to get used to the rules. Not insecure anymore. That helps. Do you love yourself? Because it is really true that you have to love yourself to bring somebody else in. Just a thought. Ruth, hi. Thank you for the badge. Staying open-minded, that's a great thing. Maybe if I put some kind of sign up. Completely. Yes. Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome. I'm awakened. Okay. So yes, if you learn to love yourself. I lost my mom last July. I'm finally allowed myself to grieve. I'm lost without her. Margaret, you're in a great spot for that. And thank you for sharing. I'm so sorry about the loss of your mom. If you need anything, let us know. We're a great community for that. I'm generally here. I don't generally get to this till later, but I'm generally here Sunday through Wednesday. Most of the time, like yesterday, I wasn't feeling well, so I wasn't on last night. But between 7 and 8 o'clock Mountain Time. So if you ever need to talk about it, we're here, and you can always message me too. I'm glad that you're letting yourself grieve, because I always say, you can sweep it under the rug, but eventually you'll trip over the rug. Levi, generally, do you want to elaborate on that? I'm not sure what you're talking about. It's the hardest way to lose somebody. I think so too, because for me, I have more closure because I can talk to my husband. Sorry guys, chat's going really fast. This year has been full of loss for me. Mother-in-law, aunt, one of my soul kitties most recently. Oh, I understand. I lost my husband, I lost my kitty, and well, you're in a great spot for that. Tell us why you're broken. Margaret, yes, and Nicole's asking, how did you let yourself grieve? I haven't been able to do that. Well, Nicole, you're in a great spot. We have lots of, I don't know if you're familiar with my story, so just briefly, if you're just hopping on, my name is Renee, and I'm from South Dakota. My husband unalived himself a little over a year and a half ago, and we were together for 32 years. My entire 32 years, my world of 32 years imploded. And my husband, 2 years, my entire 32 years, my world of 32 years imploded. And my husband didn't leave me in a great. I'm the circle that don't fit in the square, what you would call the unique girl. And so I knew that therapy and group therapy was out for me, right? And I knew once I decided to stay on this planet that I had to find a way to heal myself. And so there's lots of tips to be able to do that. Did I take a grieving class or read a grieving book? No, I did not. I didn't take any classes. Like I said, I'm the circle that don't fit in the square. And so I just found a way to take care of it on my own. And with the help of my guides, and then they led me to my purpose, which has kind of helped me also. Sorry, I'm trying to keep up with the chat, guys. Can you message me when you have time? Thank you. I believe in you, and I'm real. Okay, hold on 1 second. Sorry, guys. Okay, I followed you, Mark, and you can message me, and I could get with you after too. You're in shock. I had to tell myself over and over, my dad did it, and then I grieved. Yes, you have to learn to, the first step is wrapping your brain around it, right? If you're anything like me, we were living in our camper at the time, so my husband could work, and I'll get with the chat. I promise, guys, I'll get back with it, but I literally had to lock myself in my camper for about a week, and my mom was really terrified I was going to do something, and I wasn't. I had to be alone in that moment. And I had to wrap my brain around what had just happened. And like you said, in shock. It just came over me. I had no control. It wasn't healthy. I got severely depressed. Okay, now that's not always healthy either. Depression can be okay in that moment, as long as you're dealing with it and only having moments you're not unpacking and living there. Mark, thank you for the follow. Okay. Radical acceptance. Exactly. And so for me, how I did it is first of all, I deep dived into meditation, and then I started journaling. Nicole, people kept telling me I'd never been away from my husband. We were together since I was 16 years old for 32 years. And so, people kept saying, just put one foot in front of the other. And I literally didn't know how to do that. Like, we had only been apart 2 weeks, and for me, it was just hard to even breathe, let alone put one foot in front of the other. So I had to figure out how to breathe first, right? And so for me, like I said, I started into meditation, and then I started journaling, and I would journal to him every day, and I would go sit in nature. Nature is very healing, if you're not aware. That's sadness, it's normal. Yep. And so I would sit out. At that time, it was like October, so it wasn't cold here yet. And I would go sit at a park, and I would cry, and I would journal, and I would cry, and I would journal, and I would cry, and I would journal. And then one day, my guides told me, they said, Renee, you have to do it. And I knew what they were talking to me about. My daughter was living with me, and so she was out in the other room, and I said, you're going to hear some things come out of the bedroom. I said, I don't want you to freak out. I promise you that I'm okay, but it's something that I have to do, right? And I came back in my room and I shut my door and I screamed and I hollered at him. Not too loud because I live in an apartment, but I just said, how could you do this to me, right? How could you do this to me? How could you leave me in a position knowing how it was going to affect me, right? Because financially, he just left me in a horrible position, right? And it's like, I'm like, you had to have known this was going to happen, right? And I had to get all of that out. I had to get that anger out. I had to get that frustration out. I had to get that guilt out. I had to get it out, right? And sometimes that's what it takes, is just, go out in the middle of nowhere and scream, right? Whatever it takes to get that out, okay? You can't keep it in. Like I tell everybody, the biggest thing with grieving or healing any kind of issue that we have, whether any kind of trauma, is you have to walk through that storm. You have to. You will never heal it unless you walk through it, the anger part. And I still struggle with the anger part. I've dealt with the guilt, but the anger, on days where life situations come up, especially financial stuff, I still struggle with the anger. I'm not going to lie. If you're new here, I am completely 100% authentic. I swore, when my guide said you have to go on social media and this is your purpose and you have to talk about this, I'm like, I swore I would always be 100% authentic, right? What you see is what you get, right? I'm just like everybody else, right? I have my moments, and I tell everybody it's okay to not always be okay. It's okay to have a moment. You can have 5 moments in the day, 10 moments in the day. It doesn't matter. Just don't unpack and live there, okay? Sorry, guys. I know I missed some of the chat. Sylvia, thank you for the follow. Is it Dana? Did I get that right? Thank you for the badge. It was the guilt that you weren't prepared for. I understand. Did you deal with the guilt? Have you dealt with the guilt part? Margaret, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. And I had guilt in the beginning too. And now I'm able to say, yes. Okay. I'm glad that I was saying it right. I hate it when I slaughter somebody's name. For me, I'm finally to the point where I can say somebody else's choice is not my responsibility, right? And it doesn't matter if it's your brother, your mother, your husband, your daughter, your son. Somebody else's choice is not our responsibility, right? And it took me a long time to be able to say that. So, you have trouble unpacking. Okay. And that's normal. Just know, though, that you have to unpack it. Like I said, you have to walk through that storm because I always like the analogy because my husband was very good at sweeping things under the rug. It's not happening. I'll just pretend it's not happening. I'll just sweep it under the rug, right? And I tell everybody, you can keep sweeping things under the rug for so long, but eventually you're going to have a big bump in the rug and you're going to trip over it. I had a full-term stillborn in 1994. I had a 3-year-old to take care of when I got home, and so I didn't deal with it. I didn't. And it was about 2 years later before that come and just smacked me right in the face, right? It was like, honestly, it was like hitting a brick wall. And before I dealt with it, and, it would have just been so much easier if I had just dealt with it then, instead of waiting 2 years to unpack that, right? But you can do it. You can do it. It's just, like I said, don't unpack and live there, right? And baby steps. It's okay to take baby steps. Nobody says you have to leap all into unpacking the whole, you don't have to unpack the whole suitcase, right? Just take out a couple garments at a time, right? So today, I miss you, and you journal to your mom. I miss you, right? And tomorrow is another baby step. Maybe I'm angry with you for leaving. Whatever those emotions are, Nicole, but just baby steps. That's all it takes. One little foot in front of the other every day. And just like I said, remember, just don't unpack and live there. Okay. Like I said, you can have 5 moments through the day, 10 moments through the day, 20 moments through the day, right? But just tell yourself, I'm going to have this moment. I'm going to have a good cry. on Sunday, or no, it was on Saturday. It was a beautiful day here. And my friend wanted to take me out into the hills. And I hadn't been out into those areas since only when my husband and I had drove, because we used to take drives all the time. And last fall, I wasn't ready for that yet, right? I just wasn't ready to go there. And on Saturday, I went. But before I went, I kind of unpacked some of those emotions, right? I had my moment. And, I said, you should be here. We should be taking this drive together, right? And I had my moment. And then I just, as my grandma would say, okay, girlie, you had your moment, you had your pity party. Now pull your big girl pants up and let's go, right? And I went out in the hills and I had a beautiful day with my friend. And I didn't cry, or I didn't have a moment out there. Like I said, I had my moment here. But even if I had a moment there, it's okay. It's okay. You're allowed. You're allowed. Okay? 23 years ago from my sister, 18 years ago from my other brother, and 17 years from my mom. It's been tough. I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. But just know that if you're not aware, I am a medium. And so I say that for the simple fact of they're in a good place. They're okay. They're okay, right? And they, here's the thing. And it, in some ways it's been easier for me to grieve because I do have that ability to contact my husband now. I didn't have that for about 6 months after I discovered that I had abilities to talk to my guides. But my point is that, every single time a loved one comes to me from the other side, they tell me, just tell my loved one, I'm okay. I'm okay, right? They're okay. They're in a good place. And, they don't want you to grieve. And here's the thing is, we do need to have those moments, and we need to unpack that. We need to walk through that storm. But then we need to also be able to come to a place where it's like, you can think of them and have memories of them, and that they're happy moments, right? Not always just sad moments, because in a way we do push them away when we have those sad moments, because generally when you're thinking of them, that when you're having those moments, they're there. They're with you. 100% they're there with you, right? And so when they see you upset, then they don't come to you. They kind of back away a little bit, because they're like, well, if I come to her, she's sad, and I don't want her to be sad, right? I don't want her to grieve. I don't want her to be upset that I'm gone. And so they will back away a little bit. But like I said, at the same time, it's kind of like a teeter-totter, right? You have to find that balance, right? And that's funny, because that's what we're going to talk about tonight. Is balance. But I always believe the topic goes where it's supposed to go. So, but finding that balance of, like I said, grieving and walking through that storm, but then also having those moments of, I had a lot of great memories with him, right? And I had a lot of memories out in the hills with him, and there was things that I saw through my day where it was like, and I had a good chuckle, or I saw a painting. We went into an art gallery, and normally not my thing, but it's my friend's thing. And we went in, and I actually enjoyed myself. And, I saw pictures, and, and I talked to my husband, and I'm like, oh, look, D, that's what I always called him, D. He hated it, but I always said, look, D, you would love that. That's totally a picture for you. Right. And that's the thing, is they want to still be included at the same time, right? And so it's okay to talk about them and include them, but it's okay to also have those moments, right? Sorry if I missed the chat, guys. I had it scrolled back. Thank you. This was helpful. I am so glad. I hope you get on again. We talk about a lot of different things with healing and trauma and how to deal. But if I can recommend, the number one thing would be journaling. Journal about it, because it really does help. And if you can get out into nature and journal, and get out into nature and ground yourself, that's even more healing, right? Get your feet in the dirt, the sand, the grass, and, ground yourself. It's so healing. Hey, sorry guys, I'm way behind in the chat. Thanks for the heart. I don't know who sent it. I'm just catching up. Jeannie, thank you for the heart. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate that so much. Okay, guys, I'm going to move on. But like I said, we're not shy here, guys. So my page is your page. You're never interrupting me. Thank you for the follow. I'm going to hop over to the topic, but like I said, I always believe the conversation goes where the conversation is supposed to go. And so, like I said, just hop in anytime. I'm hoping I get all your comments. All my filters are off, but they like to filter out my comments sometimes. I definitely will. My sister journaled well. She was passed. Okay. Yeah. So journaling is just amazing, right? And like I said, if you can sit out in nature and journal, and even meditation, and let me say, to a lot of people think meditation has to just be sitting in a dark room and, you know, in the quiet. Meditation can be standing at your sink and doing dishes, or driving and taking a drive through the hills, or through, you know, wherever it is you like to take a drive, you know, and just kind of learning to quiet the mind, but at the same time, you know, just being present, right, with what you're doing. And, you know, and if you're grieving, talking to those loved ones, because if you're talking to them, they're there, they hear you, I guarantee it. They're there, they hear you, you know, and they want to be included in your life, right? So just remember that they want to be included. Sorry guys, my nose always goes as soon as I get on a live, never fails. So if you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. Cindy, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. My name is Renee. I'm from South Dakota. Welcome. Okay, guys. So tonight my guide said, let's talk about balance. Cindy from Wisconsin. Welcome. Glad to have you here. So we're going to talk about balance, the importance of finding balance in your life. And so some of the ways we need to sometimes find balance, right? Are you finding time for fun? My guide's really pushing this one. She actually just gave me a message that I haven't released yet about fun. That's one that she really likes to push. So if you're not familiar, I do talk to my guides, and when I go live, my guides give me the topic for the night. So sometimes they just give me a topic and go on, and I'm supposed to talk about it. And other nights they give me some things to talk about, and sometimes they give me pages. I just never know what I'm going to get. So anyway, that being said, so putting your priorities straight is what my guide said. Finding that balance in life. So are you finding time for fun? Are you finding time for physical activity? Are you I can't talk tonight, so I'll just say it this way. Are you paying attention to your spiritual and emotional needs, right? Especially if you've lost somebody. Those emotional needs are extremely, extremely, extremely important. Like I said, don't unpack and live there, but it's very important that you pay attention to those emotional needs. And then one that we all forget sometimes is our goals, right? Do you have a goal in life, right? Are you evolving as a person and moving forward? It's important. Having goals and dreams and taking practical steps every day or every week or whatever it is to get to those is also very important in our lives. And sometimes we kind of put those on the back burner. And so that's another thing for the last couple weeks my guide's really been pushing is, you know, are you stepping up, you know, are we stepping towards those goals and those dreams, right? And then last but not least, are you finding time for your relationships? How are you strengthening those bonds and those relationships, right? That is so important, you know. And for me, you know, obviously, if you've ever heard the term hindsight's 20/20, right? And for me, I lost my husband a little over a year and a half ago. And here's the thing is, you know, tomorrow's never promised, right? Thank you for the rose. I appreciate that so much. And the badge. Yes, I need to work on everything, and I miss my spiritual mother. Aw, thank you so much for the roses. Oh, you're so sweet, Cindy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But all of these things are so very important, and sometimes, you know, we let some things slide because we're focusing on these others. 10, wow, thank you so much. I appreciate that so much. You know, and so finding balance. So what does that look like, right? Does anybody want to talk to me? What does that look like, finding balance for all of these things. Anybody want to talk to me tonight about this? I'll just wait and see if somebody wants to comment real quick. But I wanted to add that, like I said, last but not least was building our relationships and strengthening those bonds. It just said I had an unstable connection, so if it skips on me, I'm really sorry. You know, strengthening bonds with people, right? And, you know, my husband and I were actually going through several times in that year, we were going through a rough patch, and there's many reasons why. And I've gotten into some of them on some of my other lives and some of my other videos. You can check that out. But, you know, I can definitely say now that, you know, there was things that I could have worked on that I didn't. Obviously, hindsight's 20/20, right? And like I said, tomorrow's never promised, right? So very, very important to work on those bonds with people and making the memories, right? That's a lot of with relationships, right? Are you going on date nights with your man, you know, whether it be your husband or your boyfriend or whatever it is, or your girlfriend or whatever? It doesn't matter to me. I'm just saying, are you strengthening those bonds? Me, I'm trying to find my balance. And that is really it's really hard sometimes, right? Especially for me right now without my husband, because, you know, I'm working 2 jobs, you know, and I'm trying to find balance between, you know, still being able to enjoy life, but yet working a lot, you know, and finding time to rest and to give myself self-care. That's another one that's extremely important that should have been on my list that I didn't, you know, but that kind of goes with the spiritual and emotional part of it, right? Is filling up your cup, right? And finding your time for you, right? And rest. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate that so very much. If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. If you're not familiar, my name is Renee. I'm from South Dakota. Welcome. And that's my grandson. And he apparently is not happy. Probably because he sees Grandma's door shut and he doesn't like that. He likes to be able to run in and out. So when he comes back here and he sees my door shut, he's like, I can't get into Grandma's room. He's not a happy man. So, okay, so that's pretty much everything that she gave me tonight. Just, you know, like I said, what are different ways that you can work on, you know, all of those things? Finding time for fun, right? That is so important. And that's something I'm working on so much. And here's another one that I didn't put on there too, is being present in the moment. That's what I struggle with. I struggle, right? Because I always present in the moment. That's what I struggle with. I struggle, right? Because I can't wait for it to happen, or I can't. And what we don't realize is that when we're not present, or we're not finding things in the present moment, you know, those are little pockets of our journey that we're missing out on, right? And how important that is. Sorry, I have a hair there. It was bugging me. So it causes me to unbalance. Yeah, I get that. It's, you know, and like I said, I'm right there with you, you know, and I tell everybody every time I get on a live, right? All this stuff that I'm telling you is a lesson to me too. That's generally why my guides are giving it for me to tell you, because they're like also telling me, very much the guinea pig here. So I totally get it, you know, and it's hard, you know, paying attention to your spiritual and emotional needs, right? Even if, you know, for me there for a while, I was getting up at 4:30 in the morning. So I would, you know, to have time for my meditation before I'd go to work, I was getting up at 3:30, right? So I had time to spend with my guides and to get my morning messages. Because if you're not familiar, I do videos, I get morning messages, not always, but a lot of the times. Well, sometimes it's all through the day, but a lot of times I get messages in the morning to put out. And so I would be up at 3:30 in the morning before work to do my meditation. Now I don't have to meditate because I've grown a little bit more in my journey, and so now I kind of just get the messages for her. I don't have to go into a complete meditation in order to get them, but at that time I did. And so I would get up at 3:30 in the morning so I could meditate, get my messages, and just calm my mind and relax my body. And so that way I could go to work with a clear mind and, you know, just be able to start my day fresh every day, right? And let's see, physical activity, right? Here's another one where we all are a little lax, right? And I try really hard. Part of my issue is I don't have a car. Right now I'm borrowing my work car, and I borrow my daughter's car, and I have to get rides because all my physical possessions were taken from me after my husband passed. So I don't have a car right now, but when I have a car, I try really hard to go to the gym, right? And that's another thing. If you are grieving or you're struggling with something mentally, the gym is amazing. I love the gym. When I'm struggling with something, I go to the gym and I walk on the treadmill or whatever it is that you maybe want to do at the gym. But I walk on the treadmill, and there's just something about that helps me clear my mind and be able to think clearer. And, you know, when my mind is all, because I'm very much an A personality. And so it's like when my mind is all muddled, I'm just a hot mess, right? And so I go to the gym, and there for a while, you know, I'm working 2 jobs, but I was working 2 different jobs at the time, you know, and I had 2 hours in between to go from one job to the other job. And so it's like I live on the south side of town, and the gym is on the north side of town where my job was. And so it just made sense. So what did I do? In between work, I went to the gym, right? Physical activity, right? Maybe did some arms, did some legs, walked on the treadmill, whatever it may be, right? But just kept myself moving. And I don't really need to move. I mean, to be honest with you, I do a lot of walking with my job. So I get plenty of steps in without that, but I still love going to the gym. It just helps me clear my mind. So does anybody have anything to add to that? I don't know if I'm not seeing comments or if you're just not commenting. I don't know. If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. If you're not familiar, my name is Renee. I'm from South Dakota. Okay. Well, while I'm waiting to see if anybody's going to comment, my name is Renee. I'm from South Dakota. Okay. Well, while I'm waiting to see if anybody's going to comment, I got to do my little shameless plug here, or my guides get upset with me. So I also have a YouTube channel if you're not familiar, and that is Scorpio Medium. Gardening is your escape. Oh, see, mine too, but I live in an apartment right now. I cannot wait to get back into a house so I can garden. Man, I'm right there with you. If I can get outside and get my hands in the dirt, that is like the best medicine ever. Exactly. I'm right there with you. For sure. So I do have a YouTube channel. It's under Scorpio Medium. I would love it if you subscribed. If you're not already subscribed, you'll find all my videos that I have here over there. The only difference is if you miss a live and you want to catch it, I upload all my lives usually the next day over there. So all my lives are over there. If you look at my bio here, or you go over there to my bio, you'll find my 2 email addresses, which are scorpiomedium74@gmail.com and yahoo.com. It's the same, scorpiomedium74, Gmail or Yahoo. If you would like to book a channeling session with me, with somebody who's crossed over, you can do that through there. And then let's see. And then I go live Sunday through Wednesday, between 7 and 8 o'clock Mountain Time here. Generally, I try to keep it close to 7. Sometimes it's 7:15. I have one at 7:30. It just depends on my life at the time. But I generally try to be very consistent Sunday through Wednesday. I wasn't on last night because I wasn't feeling well and I didn't go to work yesterday. I'm talking about, I'm not sure what you're saying. You're talking about what? In it? What does that mean? Can you elaborate on that for me? And so Thursdays, I have a plan to start going live on my YouTube channel. Haven't made that happen yet, but that's my plan because I have a lot of people over there that aren't subscribed to my TikTok or aren't on TikTok. And so I would like to start doing that. And hopefully one of these days get that done. Never mind. I'm sorry. I'm not sure what you're saying. I don't want you to never mind if it's important. Thank you for the badge. I appreciate that. Or the badges, I should say. Okay, guys. Does anybody you feel so bad help? What's going on? Can you elaborate? Or are you welcome to send me a message and we can talk about it after the live if that's more helpful. Okay. I'm sorry. I mean, that's what I'm here for, so you're welcome to message me if it's something, if you just need to talk about it. Okay, guys, well, if nobody has anything else they want to talk about, that's all I have for tonight. I'm not quite at my hour, so I hope everybody has a great night. Thank you for hopping on. Thank you for all the badges, all the love, all the likes, everything that you've given me tonight. I appreciate it. All the gifts. I so appreciate all of you. I hope you all have a great night. Remember to make tomorrow great because it is a choice. And if nobody else has anything else to say, going once, going twice. Okay, guys. Well, on that note, then I'm going to say until we meet again, remember to make tomorrow great.